Right. Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakakadash, Barakatham, to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim, Wa'akwaf, and I say Shalom. And the Heavenly Father, true name is Yahweh, and his unbegotten Son, Bahashem, and name Mashiach Kadoshah. Those are their true names in ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lash Wakadash Old Tongue. And I say Barakatham to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim, Wa'akwaf, and I say Shalom. And this is a sit-down lesson of the prophecy updates as of June the 12th, 2025 on this Thursday night. And this is a news article from RT.com. Yep, from RT.com, published June the 13th, 2025. And it reads, Israel strikes Iran. It says explosions and missiles interceptions reported into Iran on Friday. It says the Israeli Defense Israel has announced on Friday that an Israeli Air Force has conducted a preemptive strike in Iran. It says Iran media reports explosions into Iran as well as the missile interceptions. An emergency situation has been declared across Israel following the state of Israel preemptive strike against Iran. A missile and drone attack against the state of Israel is civilian population is expected. In the media feature cast says it says Israel is currently striking Iran's capital of Tehran. It says the attack comes weeks after summary tensions following the collapse of renewed negotiations over the Iran's nuclear program. Multiple news outlet reports last month that Israel has been discussing a potential strikes on Iran's nuclear sites with the United States. It says the U.S. President Donald Trump recently accused Iran of slow-walking the negotiations, reiterating that his objective is the complete dismantlement of Iran's nuclear program. Iran has denied pursuing nuclear weapons, maintaining its nuclear activities are solely for civilian purposes. It's the book of Joel. It's the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 9. It says, Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty man, let all the men of war draw near and let them come up. Right, so that's what we're seeing, the tensions between Iran and Israel starting to heat up now. And we're going to see if Iran is going to respond back just like they did previously. Because you had the previous times, Israel Defense Force strike nuclear sites from Iran, and then Iran responded back during that previous time. Now, once again, this time around, you had Israel Defense Force use nuclear strikes in those nuclear areas over in Tehran of Iran. So we're going to see if Iran is going to respond back, with some more response strikes to Israel Defense Force. So we're definitely going to be seeing these rising tensions heating up between Iran and Israel. So this is so we're definitely in that Joel 3 verse 9. It's in progress. Yep, it says, Proclaim ye this among the Gentile, versus the armies of other nations, prepare war. Wake up the mighty man, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Right, so that's what we're seeing. Nuclear escalation and tensions are heating up and intensifying between these nations. That's why the scripture says in Matthew, the 24th chapter, for wars or rumors of wars, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. That's what we're seeing, which goes into Ephesus. Yep, it says, Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, which the arms of other nations prepare war. Wake up the mighty man, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Right, so let them come up over there in the Middle East, which is Western Asia. And that's what we're seeing. We seeing tensions are heating up over there in the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, the Palestinian territory, over there, the Red Sea, the Gulf of Eden, throughout the Arabian Sea, and different parts around the world. So we're seeing nation against nation and kingdom against kingdom, which is heating up. That's going to lead up to the building up to the Third World War. So we're seeing signs of that increasingly on an everyday basis. Joel 3 verse 10, beat your plowshares and the swords and plenty hooks and spears not 3 sound strong. Right, because you're still going to have Iran is going to respond back to the Israel Defense Force, and you're still going to have Iran building up their nuclear capability of the rising tension they have against Israel. So Iran and Israel is definitely, the situation is heating up. And you're still going to have those pro-Iranian groups targeting the Israel Defense Force. Now they're, after Israel Defense Force made that preemptive strike, according to a news article from RT.com. Now we're definitely going to see the pro-Iranian groups going to still rise. Now we're going to see the pro-Iranian groups is definitely going to heat up their attacks against the Israel Defense Force, especially over there in the Red Sea, because you had the Houthi rebels going against the pro-Iranian groups. Now that Israel Defense Force attacked Iran's nuclear sites, that's definitely going to have the pro-Iranian groups definitely going to stir up they're going to beef up more of their attacks against the Israel Defense Force, especially throughout Western Asia. So that's only going to stir up more tensions, and that's about the weak side strong. Because you're still going to have pro-Iranian groups. They're going to build up their nuclear capability. They're going to continue to build up their strength against the Israel Defense Force now, so more than ever. After the Israel Defense Force, that the airstrikes knows nuclear sites over there in the area over there in Iran. So expect, we're definitely going to expect Iran is going to respond back to that preemptive strike from Israel, which they previously did, and they previously responded back. This time around, they're going to respond back to it once again. And this is Joel. I meant to say, this is the book of Ecclesiastes, I meant to say. Yeah, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. To everything there is a season and a time of every purpose in heaven. Right, so we're living in modern day times and seasons and every purpose in heaven, which is these modern day wars, rumors of wars, these modern day nuclear wars, and these modern day prophecies increasing. And these prophecies come to pass fulfilled. These modern day biblical signs, the signs of times, is going to come to pass fulfilled. So we're definitely not in those modern day times and seasons. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 8. And in times of love, and in time of HATE, and in time of war and time of peace. Right, we're definitely living in a time of war, which is wars, rumors of wars, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. And we're living in a time of HATE, which is lawlessness, iniquity, seditions, uprisings, upward people world, which is intensifying on an everyday basis. So we're definitely are in those modern day times and seasons and every purpose of heaven, which is living in a time of HATE and a time of war as well too, which is going to continue to increase. And this is the book of Matthew. And these were the signs that our Lord and our Savior Hamashiach spoke about, before he made his return. Matthew, before he makes his return, I meant to say, because he spoke to the disciples at the amount of hours of these signs are going to occur during his times. Now, this could be related to modern day times as well too. This is Matthew 24:6. I just want to add a side note to that. Kind of slip of the tongue words a little bit, bro. So, my apologies for that. But I'll continue on. Matthew 24:6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Right, as we hear in our world today, wars and rumors of wars, just like our Lord and our Savior, how I spoke about. At these times it's going to occur. Now we see an increasing. Yep, it says, ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Right, Iran versus Israel. And Israel Defense Force did that preemptive airstrike against Iran nuclear facilities. And I believe one of those representatives of represents the Iran. I believe they got caught in that airstrike as well too, according to news reports from what's that guy named Agenda Free TV, because he was reporting, and he was covering the story, reporting that. I give him credit to that. So potentially one of the representatives of Iran, I believe they got caught in the airstrike. It was like 2 of them, if I'm not mistaken. But that's just a side note. Once again, this is Matthew 24:6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Right, that's we hear wars and rumors of wars. Iran versus Israel. It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. It says, see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must first come to pass, but the end is not yet. Right, so it's going to come to pass, but it's not going to end just yet. It's because we're going to be hearing increasing of wars and rumors of wars, increasingly now, so more than ever. Hey, we got the Russia Ukraine situation heating up. You having Iran versus Israel, the pro-Iranian groups going against the Israel Defense Force. We seeing China versus Taiwan. We seeing China versus the Philippines, and Russia versus NATO. Russia versus EU. Iran versus the United States. Iran versus Israel. The relation between China, Russia, Iran, North Korea increasing on the ongoing tension that they have towards the West and Israel and the United States, despite the fact they're trying to have de-escalate tensions. But we're going to continue to see it increasing now, so more than ever. This is Matthew 24, verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. What? Which goes to ethnos. It says, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Matthew 24, verse 8. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Right, so all these signs that we're seeing, wars and rumors of wars, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, seditions, uprisings, uproars, people world. So all these just increase in beginning of sorrows that we're going to continue to see an increase, and it's going to manifest, and it's going to manifest, and it's going to intensify now. So more than ever, that's what we're seeing. And this is the book of Saint Mark. Yeah, this book of Saint Mark, chapter 3, verse 23. It says, and he called them unto him, and he said in a parable, how can Satan cast out Satan? St. Mark chapter 3, verse 24, it reads, and if a kingdom be divided, itself kingdom cannot stand. Right, so if a kingdom be divided, itself kingdom cannot stand. That's what we're seeing. So you have a kingdom within itself being divided, and then outside of another kingdom rise up against another kingdom. So if a kingdom be divided itself, that's which cannot stand. That's what we're seeing. St. Mark 3, verse 25, and if a house be divided, itself house cannot stand. Right, so moderate house being divided, which cannot stand. So you're gonna have a house within itself being divided, and outside of another house rise up against another house. That's what we're seeing. And if a house be divided against itself, which cannot stand, Saint Mark 3, verse 26. And if Satan rise up against himself, be divided, cannot stand, be having end. Right, that's what we're seeing. Second Edges 9, verse 5, Revelation 12, verse 12. And this is the book of Luke 21 and verse 25. It says, and there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars upon the earth, disgrace of nations with perplexities which wrong. Right, because we see the increase of disgrace of nations due to the fact there is seditions, uprisings, uproars, people world, famines, pests, and plagues, increasing uncertainty. That's why we see the disgrace of nations with perplexities which wrong, which is going to continue to intensify. It's going to increase on an everyday basis. And we definitely seeing the signs in the sun and the stars upon the earth with these blood moons, these different shapes of these moon colors that we are seeing. So we definitely seeing the signs from the sun and the star and the moon and upon the earth as well too. The disgrace of nations will perplex the seas as well, because we're we're living in the signs of the times. It's the book of Revelations 11, verse 14. The second will pass, behold, the third will come quickly. Right, so the second will pass, behold, the third will come quickly, which is World War III, and that's what we're seeing, because the second war stretch came to pass. Now the third will come quickly, and we're seeing signs of that. Yep. So as it says again, Israel strikes Iran, explosions and missiles interceptions reported in Tehran on Friday. It says Israel launched preemptive strikes on Iran. Let's see some live updates. It says the attack comes day before the 6 rounds of nuclear talks begin between Tehran and Washington, which they confirmed that live say yesterday. It says Israel launched a preemptive strike in Iran on Friday and declared a state of emergency in anticipation of a possible retaliation. Right, Iran's going to most likely do a possible retaliation in response to those airstrikes Israel Defense Force did on those nuclear sites over there in Tehran. It says multiple loud explosions were reported in Tehran along with missile interceptors. The IDF said they target both military and nuclear sites. It says, while they target military sites as well too. I thought they was only just gonna target the nuclear sites. Oh, they target military sites as well. Yeah, definitely Iran. They definitely gonna respond back to that. And one of their people got caught in that airstrike as well too. Yeah, they definitely gonna retaliate from that. It says the IDF says it targeted both military and nuclear sites. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stated that the nuclear enrichment facilities in Natanz was among the targets. News. It says news around. It says news organizations reported that last month that Israel had discussed a potential strikes on Iran's nuclear sites within the United States. It says the attack comes after 5 rounds of U.S. Iranian talks on Iran's nuclear program failed to produce a breakthrough. It says the sixth round negotiation is scheduled for Sunday in Oman, June the 13th, 1:49 GMT. It says Iranian state media has reported civilian casualties in the capital. It says the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the IDF has struck the nuclear enrichment facilities in Natanz. It added that the strike doubles Operation Rising Lion will continue for many days as it takes to remove the threat from Iran. The U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio released a statement saying that the U.S. is not involved in Israel's unilateral actions against Iran. It's a statement from Rubio, which is from X, from Twitter. It says the state from the Secretary of State Marco Rubio. It says tonight Israel's unilateral actions against Iran. We were not involved in the strikes against Iran. Our top priority is protecting American forces, which they were, which they evacuated those workers over there in Syria, I believe. Yeah, Iraq and Syria. It says Israel advised us that they believe this action was necessary for self-defense. President and administration has taken all necessary steps to protect our forces and remain in close contact with our regional partners. Let me be clear, Iran should not target U.S. interests or personnel. It says dozens of aircraft and participated in the open strike, hitting dozens of military targets, including nuclear sites with various regions of Iran, the IDF says. It says the Israel Defense Force, the IDF, said that they had begun preeminent and precise strikes targeting the Iranian nuclear program in order to prevent the Iranian regime to able to build a nuclear bomb in immediate time frame. Over the past few months, intelligence has shown that Iran is closer than ever to obtaining a nuclear weapon, the IDF spokesperson has said. It says videos from the scene show the destruction of residence areas and unconfirmed reports. The Iran leaked Telegram channels claim that the apartment complex housed members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Scenes from Tehran. As you've seen, the video clip shows unverified reports of social media shows thick clouds of smoke blowing over Tehran. Iranian media has confirmed that loud explosions in the air sirens were heard in the capital. It's the book of Luke 21 and verse 9. It's the book of Luke 21 verse 9. It says, "But when ye should hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified." Right, these are wars and commotions between Iran versus the Israel Defense Force. Yep, it says, "And when you should hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by." Right, so it's going to come to pass, but it's not going to just end just yet and by. It says things to come. Luke 21 verse 10. It says, "Then said he unto them, nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom." Right, that's what you call it. Nation shall rise against nation. Iran versus Israel Defense Force of that preemptive strike over there in Tehran of Iran or those nuclear sites. And most likely Iran is going to respond back. It says kingdom against kingdom, which goes into ethnos. Luke 21 verse 11. "And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilence and fearful sights and great signs shall be from heaven." Oh, Salakia. Let's go to let's see, Air News. It says Netanyahu says Israel operation against Iran continue as many as days as it takes. "We are at decisive moment in Israel history," Netanyahu said in a video message, saying Israel is also targeting scientists working on Iran's nuclear weapons. The agencies published 25 minutes and 5 seconds ago. It says Rubio warns Iran against targeting U.S. positions. And it says U.S. says airstrike killed base officials in Syria. It says Israel attacks on Iran's capital with explosive and bombing across Tehran. So it's definitely heating up over there in the Middle East and over there in the land of Elam as well too. I think it says in Jeremiah the 49th chapter, it's gonna be Elam, because that's the Persians. Elam, that's their biblical nationality. So this is a future prophecy about Jeremiah the 49th chapter. It says Syria condemns a blatant violation of sovereignty after Israel inclusion. Right, because it's going to spark more tensions over there in Syria as well too. It says Syria condemns Israeli inclusions in Damascus courtside. Right, because this is a future prophecy about Isaiah 17 verse 1 as well too, about Damascus. It says attacks undermining Syrians' efforts to achieve stability and reconstruction. Force ministry said the Israeli forces entered Jani in the Qantia area, killing one civilian and detaining others. The Syrian Arab Republic condemns the overnight incursions by the Israeli forces into the southern territory, insulting the death of a civilian. in the detention of scores of residents. The escalations represents a clear violation of the international law with a relevant Security Council resolution, including the 1974 disengagement agreement. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and expertise said in a statement on Thursday. It said he added that the attack undermines serious efforts to achieve stability and reconstruction and called on the UN security to take decisive steps to halt those repeated attacks and ensure the respect in international law in order to preserve regional security and stability. And this is Isaiah. This is a prophecy. Prophecies about Damascus. Isaiah 17 verse 1. It says, "The burden of Damascus, behold, Damascus take away from the city and shall be his heat." Right, so Damascus should be taken away, should be a city, it should be taken away. Damascus, Syria should be taken away from the city and should be his heat. Even though they're trying to rebuild back, trying to have some stability over there and trying to rebuild back and have more finance and more buildings over there and trying to rebuild for the civilians and all that live over there in Damascus, but you're still going to have heavy clashes and proxy wars and uprisings and tensions continue over there in the area. So this is definitely a future prophecy about Isaiah 17 verse 1 of Damascus should be taken away from the city and there should be Israel heat. Especially those heavy airstrikes are still going to continue against the Israel Defense Force. And then more of their military building up, continue to use heavy airstrikes against those pro-Iranian groups and those proxy groups in the Syrian armies as well too, and against the Russian armies and against the Dragons of Arabia. So this is definitely a future prophecy that we see in progress. You missed this because you were busy not missing out. Watch in-game stories and post-game recaps only with the NHL. It says U.S. warned Iran over supporting Houthis, asking UN Security Council for stricter arm embargoes. Right, because you're still going to have the Houthi rebels, which is a pro-Iranian group. They still going to continue to target those Israel Defense Force over there in the Red Sea. They definitely going to be inside with the pro-Iranians now some more than ever. Now that Iran got scrapped by the Israel Defense Force, so they definitely going to ramp up more attacks against the Israel Defense Force, the pro-Iranian groups. So that's only going to store more tensions over there in the area. Except for the following, which you're likely to find exceedingly difficult. It says Hamas claims it killed 12 Israeli-backed fighters and Israeli supporters group as they were aid workers. In summary, life is hard, but saving money by bundling your home and auto with Progressive is easy. Oh, yeah, deciding what's for dinner every night for the rest of your life. Knocky. What are you doing now? Working on the dating profile. See? I think that's me. Some of them secret cards. Yeah, you speak it. I done knocked on that motherfucker. It's got funny different. Oh, this is the way. I'm writing it down. So now it's good. Man, no, I don't count that. Yesterday. But I get the rest of them. They learn. I've been getting them like hotcakes. I just go to this challenges and come like that. I'm doing this to flush my rival out. Get over man. You come out, because all the rest of them gonna call it. Hey man, what you gonna play, man? He's wearing us out. Oh man, don't worry about it. I'll take care of him. Yeah, okay. Oh man, I think you better calm down. Move that. No, it's talking about the game. No, I'm flushing my rival out. And this was the reason why Israel Defense Force wanted to target the Iran their nuclear facilities because of this announcement right here. Yeah, this is from Washington Times. Yeah, this is from Washington Times as of June the 12th, 2025, at Thursday from the Associated Press, published by Stephanie and John Gambray and Amelia Mandahali, if I pronounce those names right, from the Washington Post. It's published by them. Like it's a news article. It says Iran announced a new nuclear enrichment site after the UN watchdog censored. It says Iran said it has built and will activate a third nuclear enrichment facility, ramped up tensions with the UN on Thursday immediately after the atomic watchdog ensured Iran for failing to comply with their non-proliferation obligations meant to prevent it from developing a nuclear weapon. It says the Islamic Republic of Iran has no choice but to respond to its political resolution. The Iranian Foreign Minister, Atomic Energy Organization, said in a statement, the censor by the International Atomic Energy Agency is its first 20 years over the Iran non-compliance could set in motion in efforts to restore sanctions on Iran later this year. The Prophet Joel. So despite the fact that Iran is getting hit with these airstrikes, but they definitely gonna respond back, and they still gonna be in that warlike mindset. Joel chapter 3 verse 10. It says, "Beat your plowshares and swords and pointing hooks and spears like the weak son's grown." So you still gonna have Iran building up their nuclear capability, and they're gonna continue to showcase their weaponry, nuclear capability, and continue to create more nuclear capability to their arsenal that the rising tension they have against Israel's defense war. So these tensions between the pro-Iranian groups and the Israel defense force in Iran against Israel is only going to continue to heat up and let the weak side strong, despite the fact potentially they might get hit with more economic sanctions and they might get hit with more airstrikes from the Israel defense force. But you're still going to have Iran building up their nuclear capability, and they definitely going to respond back. And then let the weak Sam strong. They're going to continue to show military strength. They're not going to let up. They're not going to back down. Especially their allies as well too. It's the pro-Iranian groups going against the Israel Defense Force. It says, halt to Newsmax. Israel and Iran are in a state of war. It's a news article. Yeah, this is from Newsmax. So this is another sign of nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and wars, rumors of wars. Yeah, it says Israel declares state of emergency after Iran attack. Yeah, that does make sense because you're gonna have now that Iran got attacked by the Israel Defense Force. Now you're gonna have those Houthi rebels. It's gonna really increase their attacks on these civilians of the Israel Defense Force. They're gonna continue to use heavy airstrikes over there in central Israel, southern Israel. I would say over there in Jerusalem and over there in Tel Aviv as well too. That's why it makes sense that they declared the state of emergency after that attack that they did from over there, that nuclear facility over there in Taiwan, which is Defense Force against Iran. It says a halt to Newsmax. It says Israel and Iran are in a state of war. It says a retired Air Force Brigadier General Glenn Holt told Newsmax on Thursday that the strikes in Taiwan tell him that Israel might be going for a decapitation strike on Iran and its leaders. Holt also observed that the countries are now in a state of war. Holt joins reacts to, if I pronounce that name right, it says to react to Israel airstrike offense on Iran's in the operation dubbed strengthening of a line. It says multiple reports and images of Iran show that the Israel Defense Force were making a precision airstrike on apartment buildings in Tehran. It says the country's major uh, buildings were reported, multiple buildings in Tehran. It says Israel and Iran are in a state of war, now holds it, and um, they may have caught the Iranian leadership off guard and off their bunkers, that they may go for a decapitation strike here. That's what the Tehran things tell me, right? Yep. Once again, it's the book of Saint Mark. Get out the New Testament. Yep. Things to come. Saint Mark chapter 13 and verse 7. It says, and when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be ye not troubled, for such things must need be, but the end shall not be. Yeah, the end shall not be yet. So these are signs of wars, rumors of wars, heating up between Iran and Israel, like I mentioned before multiple times. St. Mark 13, verse 8, for nation shall rise against nation. Right, as we're seeing, all these other nations are rising up against one another. For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. So we're definitely going to be seeing these more military exercise drills, more military spending, and more nuclear escalation tensions amongst these nations rising against one another. We're seeing this increasingly. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. And there shall be, earthquakes in diverse places, and there shall be famines and troubles. These are the beginning sorrows, right? The beginning sorrows and signs of times.
Cannot legally say Homes.com is the best. Well, how can we not say it? It's not something new. Homes.com is the best.com. Today, we accomplished nothing. I needed not a thing. And it was kind of everything. Stay 3 nights this summer at Best Western and get $50 off a future stay.
And this is from Fox News.
I love a good beer. Specifically yours. In fact, me and my closest dude.
Yep, this is from Fox News, June the 12th, 2025. From Fox News chief foreign correspondent Trey Young's report of the tensions in the Middle East, which is West Asia, by Hannity.
That Israel launched strikes tonight against Iranian nuclear facilities and long-range programs. Following those strikes that took place around 3 a.m. Israel time, an emergency alert was sent out to people across this country. Special instructions from the Home Front Command telling people to stay close to bomb shelters as Israel is bracing for possible Iranian retaliation. As for the targets that were hit, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaking tonight, making his first statement since these strikes took place, saying that there will be a country preparing for the possibility of any counterattack from Iran, but also talking about some of the targets that were hit. He confirms that the nuclear facilities in Iran were hit for Israel's survival, he says, going on to talk about some of the concerns about Iran's nuclear program and the enrichment of uranium. Importantly, though, he talks about the Natanz nuclear facility. This is a centrally located nuclear site that the Iranians have used to enrich uranium, oftentimes close to weapons-grade material. Remember, the Iran nuclear deal that President Trump pulled out of during his first term had Iran enriching uranium up to 3.67%. We know that Iran has, in part, gone up to 60%, getting closer and closer to weapons-grade material. And that's part of the reason that the Israelis felt that they needed to act tonight with the ongoing nuclear talks stalled between the Americans and the Iranians. I do want to just read you this other update that we are getting from the IDF. that says dozens of Israeli fighter jets took part in the strikes targeting multiple positions across Iran this evening. And we're also learning that Iran's international airport in Tehran has suspended all flights. We first learned that something could be taking place in the region around 2:16 a.m. local time, Sean, when U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee talked about being at the embassy all night and praying for the peace of Jerusalem. As we look forward here, the major concern for the Israeli people is the possible Iranian retaliation. We were here on the ground in Israel last year 2 separate times when the Iranians launched ballistic missiles into this country, first in April and then in October. During that time, we saw some of Israel's advanced missile defense systems, such as David's Sling and the Arrow system, work to shoot down some of that incoming fire. But it's not a perfect system, and that's part of the reason that the American systems, both the THAAD system and the Patriot missile defense system, have been deployed here to Israel to prepare for the possibility of Iranian missiles raining down on major population centers here. So again, Sean, the latest information that we have, we can confirm that Israel has launched an extensive strike against Iran, targeting the country's nuclear facilities and also long-range missile programs. And Israel has since declared a state of emergency across this country, bracing for the possibility of an Iranian response. And just one final update for you, Israel's national air carrier El Al has suspended flights to and from Israel. Israel's been at war for more than 600 days, Sean, and they very rarely are suspending flights. This is an indication that the airspace around this country will remain closed, and Israel is bracing for what likely will be days of exchanges of fire ahead. Sean?
At AT&T, we confidently guarantee our network. Oh, no.
It says Israel. Okay. Yeah, this is from the IranWire.com. Yeah, this is from the IranWire.com. It reads, it says the Israeli air squad kills the IRGC, which is the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps commander Hassan Sanamali. It says the commander-in-chief of the Iran Revolutionary Guards, Hassan Hamali, was killed in an Israeli airstrike in Tehran Friday. The Iranian official news agency IRNA report the senior IRGC commander Gholami Assad and nuclear scientist Faridun Nabasi and Mohammed Mandahi and Tawaski were also killed in the attacks, according to the state-run agency. The IRGC headquarters in Tehran was among the targets hit during the Israeli operation. The Iranian state media report the Israeli warplanes attacked military targets in Tehran early on Friday. The explosives were heard across Iran capital. Israel declaring a national emergency in preparation for the Italian Defense Ministry. Israel cast call for the operation a preemptive strike. Air raid sirens in Jerusalem and the other Israeli cities. The officials warned of an imminent Iranian counter-attack. Witness Tehran reported seeing jets strike military bases in the eastern part of the city, creating large fire and smoke plumes. It says the Iranian officials said fighter jets were deployed to intercept the Israeli aircraft strikes. It's the book of 2 Timothy's. It's like Apostle Paul wrote about perilous times to come. We definitely seeing, especially with these nuclear wars heating up between these nations. Right, it says biblical times will come, especially with these nuclear wars and the building up to the Third World War. 2 Timothy 3 verse 1. This note also in the last days perilous times shall come.
Stuff, like military.
Oh,
You know, hot dogs.
yeah.
I would put the whole pack in the room.
You should might as well, yeah. Basically, yeah. I said, yeah, basically, yeah. Yep. Second Timothy 3 and verse 1. This know also last days perilous times should come, right? Just like the Apostle Paul spoke about these kinds that occur. Now we're seeing it increasing and it's going to come into full effect. So we're definitely going to see these rising nuclear wars are heating up between Iran against the Israel Defense Force. And this is from the Miami Herald. I believe that crash took place over there in India. I say like 251 people were killed and only one survived. I believe he was a British citizen. Yep, this is a news article. Yep, this is a news article from the Miami Herald. Story reports as of June 12th, 2025, last updated. It says, this is from the Miami Herald once again, published by Su uh, Suhajandra and Porjatai KB, Mojab Mwashaha and Michael Lavason and Jacob Judah from the MYT News Service syndicated stories, and it reads hundreds dead in a fierce crash on on a Air India jet. It says an Air India flight bound from London. Case.
Homie got that motherfucker. I'm proud of him, man. Y'all, man, you know how this motherfucker. I done man, I switched cars. I knew it was gonna beat me. But I said, oh, fuck. Really bring him out. Yeah. They beat me. I knew it was gonna beat me. So I went. Yeah, we got the same cars I got, but you can't. I know you got the same cars I got. They got the same thing. Oh, my car got the paint job, motherfucker. Cause they got classic paint jobs you can't do nothing, man. And none of y'all shit shine as mine, motherfucker. All of them have to say, that's right, man. I put that paint on there with wet paint. Then experience the dark in colors you can't see at night. See the colors you can't see at night. Them all look like a light again. See, I ain't brought my cars you can't see at night. Them all look like I didn't see that. But I saw the one was. See, I ain't been rich. I ain't been chilling. It's a rich shit. Chilling. But the world is cut your head off, chop some fingers, and then some toes off. Where all the nails. Get all of them. Get all 20 of them. Oh, 20 of them. Oh, hell no. So nice. Tell you. Stop.
It ain't what I want to hear, man. You understand? Wow. I know. He said, I know it hurts. He said, he was in there like, oh, that shit was really fucked up, man. Yeah, he spin down, yeah. Oh, man, when that motherfucker did that shit down in his ass, when that motherfucker to come right back, he's like, bow, bow. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Keep on coming. Keep on. Hey, man. And now I know all these motherfuckers is talking on, and I can't hear a word they say, but I bet you they calling me all the time. Where you come from? He ain't even in the group, man. Who's this dude, man? It ain't me. It's hard. They don't understand. I give her the nails and she got the house. You steady, boys. Wow. Oh, look up. See how much a monthly subscription for no limits and whatever. Which one is the next one from Need for Speed Heat? I think that's no bound. Mm-hmm. See how much that is. Let me know. Okay. Because after I gotta work with the new car. I ain't even fucking with the new car. I finally found the race I'm supposed to do. So I can go to the next task. Once when I do all that, I know they're supposed to give me something. They're gonna give me something out of this deal because I believe when I bought that, it makes the car faster. Like the other idiots they've been calling, the one that whooped my ass completely, tore my ass out. I believe that's how I get to go faster because I know I've seen them all. They bought that car. That car was not on at the dealership until you buy it. When I bought mine, I was like, what the fuck is it? Oh, yes. But I went and got it. But when I went to the dealership, also on the dealer's list now, and it's been a few of them that got the same car. I was like, oh, so y'all bought cars, Kim, honey, I must say shit. Oh, it's a little bit more than that. I'll catch up. I won't be behind no.
It says an Air Indian flight bound from London crashed only seconds after taking off at Western India on Thursday, plunging into a local medical college and killing more than 260 people. It says officials say it says it was India's worst aviation disaster since 1996. Video verified by the New York Times show a plane taking off and then descending slowly off a cluster of buildings as it was gliding before a large fireball erupted on the horizon. It did not tumble or plunge out of the sky. It was in the air for less than a minute. The video says. It's the book of Ecclesiasticus 12 and verse 14. Ecclesiastes 12 verse 14. It said, for Yahweh shall bring every work into judgment, and every secret thing will be good, will be evil. Yep, so as it says, hundreds are dead in a fierce crash off a India jet.
delicate cold cycle. Do I just put it in? Remember to turn it inside out to protect the sequence. Can I put it in the dryer? I call the taxes now. Thank goodness I asked.
It says from the Washington Times. Right, let's go to Luke 20, verse 25. And it says that Hegseth refused to rule out military action in Greenland and Panama. It says the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, will not rule out. It says will not rule out military action against Panama and Greenland to protect American interests, telling lawmakers Thursday that the Pentagon is ready for anything. During the testimony before the House Army Service Committee, Mr. Hegseth said the Pentagon has continuous plans for numerous situations in Greenland or Panama. Two nations have drawn the White House attention this year. Our job is at the DoD and its plans, and it has plans, and we have a lot of them. He said when asked if the Pentagon was prepared for military action in Greenland or Panama, I think the American people will want the Pentagon to have plans for anything. It's the book of Luke. It's the book of Luke 21 and Luke 21 verse 25. It says, and there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars upon the earth, dispersing nations with perplexity right as we're seeing. Once again, St. Mark chapter 3 and verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, the kingdom cannot stand. Right, we're seeing kingdoms being divided, especially these Edomites, Idumea, Hashash, away. St. Mark 3 verse 24, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, the kingdom cannot stand. St. Mark 3 verse 25, and if a house be divided against itself, the house cannot stand. St. Mark 3 verse 26, once again, and if Satan rise against itself, be divided, cannot stand, or having end. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 12. It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the deceiver should come down unto you having great wrath, because he know he have a short time to rule. Right, so the wicked bear rule, so he know he have a short time to rule, so he's definitely going to come with great wrath. You're definitely seeing signs of that. So, let's see. Let's see some more news articles. Oh yeah, before I do that, get to that second Ezra's.
Did a good job along the boards and try to jump into the play.
So we're definitely going to be seeing great seditions among the nations. Second Ezra's 9 verse 3. When there, it says, therefore, when there should be seen earthquakes and uproars people in the world. Right, that's what we see in our world today, increasing earthquakes and uproars people in the world. This is second Ezra's 15 and verse 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Right, so great disgrace to the world and them that dwell therein. Second Ezra's 15 and verse 15. For the sword of destruction draweth nigh. Right, we see the Houthi rebels going against the pro-Iranian groups. The Houthi rebels going against the Israel Defense Force. Let me reiterate that. And the pro-Iranian groups, all the pro-Iranian groups and the proxy groups going against the Israel Defense Force. We have Iran versus Israel heating up. We have Russia versus Ukraine, Russia versus NATO, and all these seditions and the uprisings and the uproars people in the world that we see in our world today. It says, for the sword of destruction draweth nigh, because we know the modern day sword is with it. Okay.
Common side effect is nausea. Ask your doctor about Nurtec ODT.
You're separated from your lifetime. Hey, bro, Mom said you want some more fries. Yeah.
Never thought I'd see your face again. Jenny tell you to visit?
He said,
You
yeah.
really did a number on me.
I got so bad. Nurses here all love me. They'll bring me that shot that y'all keep asking for. Apple juice. Is he drunk?
Y'all always see us.
Lemon ketchup on it too. He said, lemon ketchup.
You better get this shit, man.
Something on your mind, son.
Remember Franklin Shaw? Lived down the street, shot to death 25 years ago. Oh, I'm sure you remember his wife, Monica.
Can't say what to do.
Come on. You were sleeping with him behind Mom's back.
Where'd you get that from?
Because I saw you two together when I was 13. For some reason,
Okay, welcome back to our
not your mom.
Whoa, Tim. What are you bitching about? You kept your mouth shut. You did good. Now get over it.
I found you on the wall. I know you killed Frank. But why'd you do it? You wanted Monica all to yourself. You only one family just wasn't enough for you, was it?
And so what if I did? What are you going to do about it?
Get back in bed.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah. Yeah, it was more than that in there.
That's what I thought.
Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 15. For the sword of discretion draweth nigh. One people should stand up and fight against another with swords in hands. That's what we're seeing with these protests that's taking place here in the United States. We're seeing taking place what's going on over there in Ireland. I would say northern Ireland, with those protests have been going on for the past 4 days. Yep, it says Second Ezra 15, verse 15. It says, for the sword of discretion draweth nigh. One people should stand up and fight against another with swords in hands. We know the modern sword is a weapon. Second Ezra 15, verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, which we're seeing right now, what's going to come into full effect. As we see that great insurrection uprising going to come into full effect. For there shall be sedition among men, debating one another. A nation that will guard their kings and their princes, and of course the action standing by. Okay, let's go to some more news articles. Go to the time of Israel. It says the IAF launches a major strike on Iran and its nuclear program. The prime minister, a decisive point in our history. It says the Iran state media says the IRGC chief killed. Netanyahu says operation will continue as long as needed. If we don't act now, there won't be another generation reported. It says Mossad carry out sabotage operations and says the IDF says heavy missile attacks could come soon. The defense minister said we dealt Iran proxies. Now we are dealing with the head of the snake. It says the key uranium site in internet says several times Iranian media, state media says. It says Trump. It says Trump to convey National Security Council to discuss strikes on Iran. 21 minutes ago, it says the Israel Defense Force boosting troops, raising alert levels along borders and in West Bank. Right, because you can have the pro-Iranian groups. I just said that. That's the spirit. All right, because you're gonna have the pro-Iranian groups. They're gonna respond back to that because they still in solidarity. With the pro-Iranian groups and with Iran. Let's go to the Jerusalem Post. It says Iran confirms IRGC head of Somalia killed in a Israeli strike operation Rising Lion. Oh, let me go back to that. I forgot. I want to read a little bit more about that.
It's cup time. That means more time to be a fan. And you get even more Stanley Cup action with Discovery.
More insurance. More merch.
More snacks. More cashback.
It says new explosions heard at the key nuclear site. That's Iran state media says.
With Discovery. Official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs, Discover.
Let's go to the live blog. So after the first explosion, so they're hearing some more new explosions once again. See if I can bring that up. See if I can go to it. Boost troops. Yeah, this says some from the time of Israel, but I'm gonna leave it at that. Bring up this last scripture, then we'll close it out. So this Iran versus Israel situation is definitely gonna heat up. So expect the Iran gonna respond back, most likely. Yep, Revelations 11 verse 14. The second will pass, behold, the third will come quickly. Right, second will pass, behold, the third will come quickly. So with that, hopefully this sit down lesson was edifying of this prophecy updates as of June the 12th, 2025 on this Thursday night. And we definitely seeing the third war. I mean, wars, rumors of wars are heating up. What's going to lead to the third world war? So we're definitely going to see this Iran versus Israel situation definitely going to heat up. And you had one of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps was killed in the air strike, right along with the scientists and others got killed in the air strike from the Israel Defense Force, was targeting those nuclear sites over there in Tehran. So definitely, Iran is gonna respond back, and the whole Iranian groups throughout that whole region over there in Western Asia, they definitely gonna ramp up their more attacks there. It's gonna intensify now, so whenever, like I mentioned before, they're gonna be targeting over there in Syria, over there, I would say over there in Damascus, southwest Syria, southeastern Syria, between the borders of Syria, Lebanon, the Gaza Strip, West Bank, Palestinian territory. And they definitely going to be targeting over there in the Red Sea and over there in the Arabian Sea as well too. They're going to be targeting central Israel, southern Israel, over there in the Golden Heights, over there in Jerusalem, over there in Tel Aviv. So they definitely going to be targeting those pro-Iranian groups after those airstrikes over there in those nuclear sites over there in Tehran. And I believe civilians, they got caught in those airstrikes as well too. So there's definitely tensions are definitely going to heat up, once again between Iran versus Israel. So with that, hopefully this sit down lesson was edifying, and excuse me for those momentarily talks in the background as well too. So Salaki for that. I believe that was last for a couple of minutes, so Salaki for that once again. So once again, hopefully this sit down lesson was edifying. of the prophecy updates as of June the 12th, 2025 on this Thursday night. So with that, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem Akokadash, and the Heavenly Father, true name is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son Ba'Hashem, in the name of Mashiach Abishai. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lashwakadash tongue. And I say Barak Thumb to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim, Wa'akwaf. Until next time, I will say Shalom.